Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation Dr Blade Nzimande has shared fond memories of the former Minister of Education, Professor Sibusiso Bengu, who recalled how Bengu loaned him money to study at the university in 1977, jokingly referring to the incident as the root foundation of the National Student Funding Scheme, NSFAS. Bengu started his career in education as a teacher and went on to become the first Minister of Education in democratic South Africa. Deputy President Paul Mashatile delivered the eulogy at Bengu's funeral today.
To start by expressing one's condolences to the family of Professor Bengu. But we know that they are mourning, but at the same time they should be a very proud family for having produced someone who has made such a huge contribution. Well, firstly, maybe starting personally. When I'm standing here, I graduated in this hall. It brings back, in 1980 for my first degree, it brings back memories, including the fact that September 1977, I had run out of funds to study at university. I was short of 100 rand, actually, which was a lot of money at the time because the total fees were just over 400 rands. And Professor Bengu gave me a loan. A few of us, and we signed for that loan. I paid it when I was working, actually. When I reflect and think about that, maybe those were the beginnings of NSFAS, because there was no NSFAS at that time. That saved me from dropping out at university. He had done that because he was Dean of Students, but at his own initiative. It's strictly speaking, it was not money from the university, but I understand he had done some fundraising from the churches. He was very linked with religious organizations and so on. Now, that's very important to remind ourselves, because one thing about Professor Bengu is that he was a very kind person. And we need buckets of that from leadership today. To be kind, to be caring about our people in a genuine sense. To me, that was one of the... He was a gentleman also, but very firm and determined in transformation. Of course, I worked him much closely for the first 5 years of our democracy. Between 1994 and 1999, I was chairperson of the Portfolio Committee. Professor Bengu led in the promulgation of foundational legislation that today we've made the achievements we've made in education. Because of that foundation he laid, one can count a number of important pieces of legislation. The very first piece of legislation that he led, which we were championing in Parliament as Portfolio Committee Chair, was what was called the National Education Policy Act. And the opposition was, especially the white opposition, dead opposed to it. What was the purpose of that legislation? Was to create a single framework for one education system. Because Professor Bengu had to bring together 19 different schooling departments and 21 universities, if I'm not mistaken at the time, that were racially based. The schools also were racially and ethnically based. So he had to pull together legislation, put legislation to pull together all these things. That was like a real huge, significant change.
At the same time, KwaZulu-Natal Premier Ntuli says the former Minister of Education, Professor Sibusiso Bengu's contribution is incalculable to South Africa's democracy and all the honour he has been showered with by South Africans from all walks of life.
Was the eagle that perched itself atop the hills of Ongoye and used its wings to help many young people fly high in search of glory and better opportunities in life. Well, I must thank Professor Bengu for paving the way to our journey as the younger politicians. Because Professor Bengu, in fact, is the founding secretary of my political party, the IFP. And he showed us the way, though later he joined the ANC, but we all embrace his leadership and his, in fact, guidance.